Howdy, Howard here, documenting the daytime and event Super Bowl 59. A dud. It's a 37-6. Philadelphia Eagles are flying hard and high over Kansas City, and I do take notice of the font. It seems like it's out of the 70s. I love it. Anyway, this is a short story, maybe not so short, and anyway. It begins with my hospitalization in the psychiatric unit at the Bateman facility in Huntington for severely mentally ill, violent offenders. When Hatfield hit Margaret and knocked her eyeglasses right off of her face to the floor, I could not believe it. He was a real asshole. I had begun to have a very high regard for Margaret as a nurse there at the Bateman Psychiatric Hospital. She lived with a lot of dogs in a mobile home, and it seemed to me that her career as a nurse meant everything to her. Mildred Mitchell, Bateman Psychiatric Hospital, Huntington, West Virginia. By the time things had settled down, James, who was a patient and an enforcer there on the unit, was by her side, Margaret, and attempting to figure out exactly what had gone down and whose ass he was going to kick. I walked up to the both of them, and I couldn't stop myself from getting as close as I could to see for myself what that Hatfield had done to her. It could have been worse. Bruising below her eyes, no blood. She was going to need a new pair of eyeglasses. Later that night, as the staff there decided to provoke a reaction from me, triggered my anger as they knocked over the garbage can in our room in the dark. I woke up and I just lost my cool. And by the time I was done letting them know and have it, yelling at them at the top of my lungs, how in the F could you let a Hatfield even have the chance to get close enough to hit her? Cuss, 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 cuss. But that's all it really took. And as a side note, earlier that very day I had won my medical capacity back after just 1 week there. Dr. Cullen, that's capital Kulle, he knew with certainty that I didn't belong in that hospital. Anyway, the unit was for severely mentally ill psychiatric patients who were known to have a history of violence. I had no track record like that. Ever. Even so, with the commotion that night and the garbage can getting knocked over and all my yelling at them, the alarm sounded, and in seconds I was surrounded by about 5 members of their staff and very quickly stabbed in the upper thigh with a forced injection of something to calm me down. Shit. I spent the next 2 weeks reaching up into my bowels to pull out the blocked movements. Not fun. The staff there had missed wildly with the forced injection. I began to wonder if I would ever regain the ability to push bowel movements normally out of my body again. Talk about uncertainty. On top of all that, Dr. Cullen reversed his decision and placed me back under the decision-making power of my original medical circuit, my sister, Dr. Leslie Franklin. And I was held for an additional 7 weeks, involuntarily committed. Remember, after 1 week, he had returned my capacities, legal and medical. But all that went down, and there I was for an additional 7 weeks. Eventually, I did regain both my legal and medical capacities and was transported to the Wheeling Salvation Army. I was dropped there in the street and had no idea of exactly how things were going to unfold. A bit of a bumpy ride. Yeah. No worries. You all enjoy the evening. It's a lame game, Super Bowl. Anyway, y'all have a good evening. See ya. Howard out.